Cup Fulham vs Newcastle United prediction, team news, lineups preview. Reeling from an agonising EFL Cup semi-final exit, Fulham will endeavour to earn a slice of knockout redemption on Saturday. When Newcastle United arrive at Craven Cottage for their FA Cup fourth-round affair. The Cottagers required just the one goal to edge past Rotherham United in the third round, whereas Eddie Howe's troops put 3 past Tyne-ware rivals Sunderland without reply. Match preview. Despite blowing a 1-goal lead to comeback kings Liverpool in the first leg of their EFL Cup semi-final, the writing was not on the wall for Fulham ahead of Wednesday's second leg, but Luis Diaz's deflected strike made the Cottagers' uphill climb that little bit steeper. Fulham number 1 Bernd Leno would not have wanted to watch Diaz's goal back. The ex-Arsenal man ought to have done much better at his near post, but an erstwhile Liverpool attacker briefly got his goalkeeper out of jail in the second period, as Harry Wilson set up Issa Diop for the hosts' equaliser on the night. Another 15 minutes was not enough for Marco Silva's team to force an additional 30, though, as they missed out on an all-West London final with Chelsea next month. But the Cottagers, still without a major trophy in their 145-year history, remain in contention for FA Cup stardom. A strong 11 made hard work of their third-round tie with a defence-heavy Rotherham crop. Although Bobby de Cordova-Reid's first-half strike sufficed as Fulham reached the fourth round for the 5th year running, but they have only progressed from one of their past 4 ties at this stage. That triumph did come in the 2022-23 campaign, where they were eliminated in a fiery quarter-final with Manchester United after a fourth-round beating of Sunderland, who coincidentally fell to the supremacy of Saturday's visitors to Craven Cottage in this season's third phase. Even though Newcastle possess European aspirations while their Tyne-ware rival Sunderland compete in the Championship doldrums, animosity remains highly prevalent between the two Northeast adversaries, who renewed acquaintances at the Stadium of Light on January 6. Magpies head coach Howe had overseen 4 successive losses in all tournaments ahead of the third-round affair. But thanks to a brace from Alexander Isak and an opening own goal from Daniel Ballard, Newcastle earned the bragging rights and a spot in round 4 without breaking too much of a sweat. The visitors were on the verge of following up that derby delight with a statement victory over Manchester City, only to fall victim to a mesmerizing Kevin De Bruyne cameo in a 3-2 Premier League loss, leaving them in the obscurity of 10th place in the top-flight table. However, sending Sunderland packing meant that Newcastle snapped a miserable sequence of 3 successive third-round exits. But they have only advanced past round 4 once in the last 18 years, ironically bowing to Man City's superiority in a 2-0 defeat in the 2019-20 quarter-finals. The Magpies are also at risk of setting an unwanted FA Cup record this weekend. They could become the first Premier League team to lose 8 in a row against fellow top-flight sides in the competition, but their most recent Premier League victory was also a routine 3-0 beating of hosts Fulham on December 16. Team news. Fulham's Africa Cup of Nations trio Fode Ballo-Touré, Calvin Bassey and Alex Iwobi will not be back at Silva's disposal just yet, as both Senegal and Nigeria made it through to the knockout stages, while Adama Traoré's thigh is still giving him grief. Given the 72-hour turnaround, a return to the matchday squad is considered highly unlikely for Traoré, and while Silva did not lose any more players to injury in their EFL Cup semi-final second leg with Liverpool, fatigue may force a few alterations. Wilson, Kenny Tete and Harrison Reed are among Wednesday's benched players who should force their way into Silva's thinking, while Leno ought to pass the goalkeeper's gloves over to Marek Rodak, as was the case against Rotherham. With regards to Newcastle, Joelinton's season could very well be over after the midfielder underwent surgery on a thigh injury, while none of Sandro Tonali suspended. Nick Pope shoulder, Elliot Anderson back, Joe Willett calf, Harvey Barnes foot or Matt Targett thigh will be back for round 4. Jacob Murphy shoulder is back in training though. Howe also does not anticipate Callum Wilson returning from his calf concern in time for Saturday's game. Next Tuesday's meeting with Aston Villa is a more realistic comeback date, but Tino Livramento should return from the illness which kept him out of the loss to City. The latter's fellow right-back Kieran Trippier was the subject of interest from Bayern Munich mere days ago. But the German champions have now ended their pursuit of the England international. Who should lead the Magpies out as captain at Craven Cottage? Fulham possible starting lineup: Rodak, Tet, Diop, Ream, Robinson, Reed, Palhinha, Wilson, Pereira, de Cordova-Reid, Jimenez. Newcastle United possible starting lineup: Dubravka, Trippier, Schär, Botman, Byrne, Longstaff, Guimaraes, Miley, Almiron, Isaac, Gordon. We say, Fulham 0-2 Newcastle United. Fulham deserve several pats on the back for their valiant efforts against Liverpool in midweek, but an energy-sapping midweek contest coupled with a confidence-sapping outcome puts them at risk of more knockout misery. A 2-week hiatus from competitive duty is just what the doctor ordered for a decimated Newcastle team, who should take full advantage of Fulham's weary legs to prolong their FA Cup adventure. Thanks for your watching. Don't forget to click the subscribed button and hit the bell icon for more.